At my dad's funeral, I learned my daughter isn't mine. I never thought I'd be posting here, but life just shoved me into hell and told me to take notes. I'm Mark. I just buried my father last month. The man was my hero, quiet, steady, the guy who taught me how to fix a car engine when I was 12 and how to stand tall when life knocked you down. He'd been sick for a while, but when the funeral came, I still wasn't ready. My wife, Hannah 35, was there by my side. Or so I thought. We've been married almost 10 years. We've got one daughter, Lily 7. That little girl is my world. Smart, funny, stubborn, she's got this mischievous grin that can melt me no matter how bad the day's been. At the wake, while people were coming up to me with handshakes and casseroles, my mom pulled me aside. She looked exhausted, like she'd been carrying something heavier than grief. And that's when she said it. "Mark, there's something I need to tell you. Your father asked me to keep it until after he was gone. Hannah told me years ago. Lily isn't biologically yours. And your father knew." I swear the room spun. The coffee cup slipped out of my hand and shattered on the church basement floor. For a moment I thought I misheard. My mom grabbed my arm, tears in her eyes, and repeated it. "I'm sorry, honey. I should have told you. But your father, he made me promise." I looked across the room at Hannah, chatting and laughing with my sister like nothing was wrong. And in that moment, standing there in my dad's shadow, I realized my whole marriage, maybe my whole life, was a lie. That night after the funeral, once the family had gone and Lily was asleep, I sat Hannah down in the kitchen. I didn't sugarcoat it. "My mom told me what you confessed to her. About Lily. About another man." Her face went white. She tried to laugh it off at first, this high-pitched fake giggle she always uses when she's cornered. "Oh my God, Mark, your mom is grieving. She's confused, she must have misunderstood." I cut her off. Don't you dare lie to me now. Tell me the truth." She folded her arms, her bitchy default stance, and muttered, "Fine. Yes. I slipped up. 8 years ago. Before Lily was born. But it didn't mean anything." I just stared at her. "With who?" She hesitated, then finally spat it out. "Eric. From my old job. You don't know him. But I did know him. The smarmy guy she used to mention in passing, always talking about how funny he was." I asked her if Lily was his. She shrugged, actually shrugged, and said, "Biologically? Probably. But you're her real dad, Mark. You've always been her real dad." The audacity. She leaned across the table, like this was some grand romantic gesture, and whispered, "You were the one I chose, Mark. Not him. You." And I swear to God, in that moment, the grief from my dad's funeral collided with the humiliation of her words, and I thought I might throw up right there on the kitchen floor. Because it wasn't just about Lily's DNA. It was about the fact that my wife had lied to my face for 7 years, and my parents had carried that lie to the grave. And the woman sitting across from me had the nerve to act like I should be grateful she chose me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the living room, staring at family photos, me holding newborn Lily, me and Hannah on vacations, Christmas mornings. All of it looked fake now, staged, like I was the punchline to some long-running joke. The next morning, I told Hannah we weren't done talking. She rolled her eyes. "Mark, you're obsessing. It was a mistake, a fling. It happened before Lily was born. Why destroy our family over something ancient?" I said. "Because you lied to me for 7 years. Because you let me believe Lily was mine." Her tone snapped from soft to sharp in an instant. "She is yours. Who's been raising her, Mark? Who's been paying the bills? Who's been reading bedtime stories and coaching soccer? You. Not Eric." Then she twisted the knife. "You're being selfish. Do you want to traumatize Lily just to soothe your ego? Are you really that insecure?" I felt my face burn. She was turning my heartbreak into some kind of weakness, like I was the problem. I asked her if Eric knew. Her silence was all the answer I needed. Finally, she said. Look, I told your mom years ago because I felt guilty. I wanted someone to know. But I stayed with you because I love you. I picked you. I laughed, bitter hollow. You picked me? No, Hannah. You trapped me. You trapped me in a life built on lies. For a second, she dropped the act. Her face hardened and she snapped. Fine. If you're going to be dramatic about it, maybe you're not as strong as I thought you were. That was the moment I realized she wasn't sorry. Not for the cheating. Not for the lying. Not for robbing me of the truth. She was only sorry she got caught. I thought burying my father was the hardest day of my life. Turns out, it was just the opening act. After that confrontation, I crumbled. I'd go to work, go through the motions, and then sit in my truck in the parking lot, staring at the steering wheel for an hour because I couldn't face walking into the house. Every time I looked at Lily, my heart twisted. She'd run up yelling, "Daddy!" and hug my leg, and I'd hug her back like my life depended on it. Because she was my daughter in every way that mattered. But in the back of my head, a voice kept whispering, "She's his. Not yours." It was like grieving twice, once for my dad, and once for the family I thought I had. And the humiliation. God, it ate me alive. My mom had known for years. My dad had known and taken that secret to his grave. That meant every time he looked at Lily, he knew the truth I didn't. Did he pity me? Did he see me as a fool? And Hannah, she had the gall to mock me for being insecure. She made me feel small, pathetic, like I was weak for even hurting. Nights were the worst. I'd lie in bed next to her, staring at the ceiling, while she scrolled her phone like nothing was wrong. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand how she could be so cold. Instead, I just felt empty. I started drinking more. Not blackout drunk, but enough to numb the edges. Enough to make it through another day of pretending everything was fine. And deep down, I started asking myself questions I never thought I would. Am I really good enough? Or am I just the guy women use when they can't get what they want? That's when I hit rock bottom. And strangely, that's when something inside me started to harden. One night, after another round of Hannah calling me, obsessed, for bringing it up again, I made the decision. I wasn't going to live in limbo. I needed to know for real. So, I ordered a DNA test kit. Quietly. Had it shipped to my brother Jason's house so Hannah wouldn't suspect anything. Jason's face when I told him what it was for, he just shook his head. Man, I'm so sorry. But you deserve the truth. Don't let her keep you in the dark. Getting the sample was the hardest part. I waited until Lily fell asleep one night and gently swabbed her cheek, whispering an apology the whole time. I felt like the world's worst father, sneaking around, treating my little girl like evidence instead of the light of my life. I mailed it off. 2 weeks of hell followed. 2 weeks of Hannah acting like nothing was wrong, cracking jokes with her sister on FaceTime, smirking at me across the dinner table, asking why I was so moody. When the email finally came, I opened it alone in my truck, parked outside the grocery store. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped my phone. The results, 0% probability of paternity. My chest caved in. Even though I already knew, seeing it in black and white was like being hit with a sledgehammer. Lily wasn't mine. Not biologically. I sat there for an hour, sobbing like a child, pounding the steering wheel until my hands hurt. And then, through the tears, something shifted. Because even as the betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt, I realized Hannah couldn't take Lily from me. She might have stolen the truth, but she couldn't erase 7 years of me being her dad. That bond was real. But my marriage? That was dead. After the DNA test, I couldn't look at Hannah the same way. Every word out of her mouth sounded like poison. She kept insisting, "Eric doesn't even know. You're the only father Lily's ever had. That should be enough." But my gut told me she was lying, again. So I started digging. Old laptop of hers in the closet, passwords still saved. I spent nights in the garage scrolling through years of emails. And there it was. An email thread from 8 years ago, right around the time she found out she was pregnant. Subject line: "We need to talk." Hannah to Eric: "I'm pregnant. It's yours. But I can make this work. Mark will never know. He'll think the baby is his. He's too good, too trusting." Eric's reply: "Are you sure this is the best idea? He doesn't deserve that." Her response: "He'll be a better dad than you ever could. And he'll never question it." Reading those words made me physically sick. She hadn't just made a mistake, she'd made a decision. A calculated, cold-blooded decision to use me as cover, to let me raise another man's child while keeping him in her back pocket. And the worst part? She called me too good, too trusting, like it was some kind of weakness. I wanted to storm into the house, wave the emails in her face, and watch her squirm. But I didn't. Not yet. Because the anger boiling inside me wasn't the kind you throw away on a shouting match. No, this was the kind of anger you sharpen. This was the kind you turn into a weapon. I couldn't hold it in anymore. One night after Lily went to bed, I printed the emails and laid them out on the kitchen table like evidence in a trial. When Hannah walked in, she froze. "What's this?" she asked, her voice tight. I didn't say a word. Just pointed at the lines where she told Eric, "Mark will never know. He's too good, too trusting." Her face drained of color. Then she snapped into her act, her go-to defense mechanism. "This is ancient history, Mark. Why are you digging up things that don't matter anymore?" "Doesn't matter?" I barked. "You planned this. You used me. You let me bury my father while carrying this secret, and you let him die knowing the truth I didn't." She crossed her arms, chin tilted high, that bitch of defiance I'd come to know too well. "I stayed with you. That should count for something. I could have left you for Eric, but I didn't. Doesn't that tell you anything?" I slammed my fist on the table. "Yeah. It tells me you're a coward who wanted the best of both worlds. You wanted his thrill and my stability. You wanted me to be the fool who paid for your little mistake." Her lips curled into a sneer. "Maybe if you weren't so sensitive, you could handle this like a man. But no, you've got to turn everything into drama." That was it. Something in me snapped. For years she made me doubt myself. Made me feel smaller, weaker, dumber. But looking at her then, cornered, pathetic, scrambling to twist her betrayal into my fault, I saw her clearly for the first time. She wasn't strong. She wasn't smarter than me. She was just a liar who thought she'd never get caught. And I swore right there, I wasn't going to let her walk away from this unscathed. Once I had the proof, I couldn't keep it inside anymore. I told my brother Jason first. We were sitting in his garage, drinking beers, when I slid the emails across to him. He read them, muttered, "Holy shit," and then looked at me with this mix of pity and rage. "Mark, she didn't just cheat. She built her whole damn life on lying to you." I nodded, swallowing hard. "And Mom knew. Dad knew. For 7 years. That part hit Jason the hardest. He slammed his beer on the table. "So they let you be the fool while they carried the truth? Dad went to his grave keeping her secret? That's not protecting you, that's betraying you." When I told my sister Kelly, she cried. Said she'd always thought Hannah treated me like crap, but never in a million years guessed this. The hardest was talking to Mom again. I asked her point blank, "Why didn't you tell me?" She sobbed, said Dad begged her to keep quiet. He thought it would destroy me to know. He wanted to protect the family. Protect the family? What a joke. All it did was destroy my trust, in Hannah, in my marriage, even in my own parents. Everywhere I turned, it felt like someone had stabbed me in the back. My wife for the affair. My parents for the silence. My own judgment for being too blind to see it. The family I thought I had? It was gone. And I knew then that if I wanted any peace, I couldn't rely on them. I'd have to carve it out for myself. For weeks I walked around like a ghost, carrying that folder of emails in my truck like it was a weapon I wasn't sure how to use. Hannah tried to move on like nothing happened. She'd cook dinner, make small talk, even kiss my cheek at night. Every time she touched me, my skin crawled. She still thought she had control. That I'd cave. That I'd swallow the betrayal for the sake of family. But the more I thought about Dad taking that secret to his grave, the more I burned. He thought he was protecting me, but all he did was let her win. And I wasn't going to play the fool anymore. So I found Eric. A quick search online, and there he was, LinkedIn profile, family photos, smiling with his wife and 2 kids. Perfect suburban life. I sent him a message. We need to talk. It's about Lily. At first, he ignored me. Then I attached the DNA results and a screenshot of Hannah's email where she told him she was pregnant with his kid. He responded within an hour. Call me. We spoke the next day. His voice shook. He claimed Hannah told him she'd taken care of it. That she'd chosen me, that he didn't think Lily was even his. He said he tried to move on. But I could hear the panic in his tone. He had no idea I was about to drop a bomb on his perfect little life. And in that moment, I knew exactly what I was going to do. If Hannah wanted me to be silent like Dad, she picked the wrong man. I was going to make sure everyone saw the truth she buried. Eric thought we could keep this between us. That we could handle it privately. I almost laughed in his face. Privately was exactly how Hannah wanted it handled, behind closed doors, with me carrying the shame while she lived her spotless little professor wife life. So I did the one thing she never expected. I called Eric's wife. Her name was Marissa. Sweet voice, polite, like she had no clue what was about to hit her. I introduced myself, told her I needed to meet in person. When we sat down at a coffee shop, I slid the DNA test and the printed emails across the table. She went pale. Her hands shook. She read the words, whispering them out loud. Mark will never know. He's too good, too trusting. Then she broke down. Right there in the middle of Starbucks. By the end of the week, Marissa had kicked Eric out. Words spread fast in their circle. And because academia is a rumor mill, it didn't take long before whispers made their way back to Hannah's department too. The perfect image she clung to, the smart, loyal professor with the stable husband and sweet daughter, cracked wide open. At a faculty dinner, one of her colleagues apparently asked her straight out. So, is it true Lily isn't Mark's? She came home fuming, slamming cabinets, screaming at me. Do you realize what you've done? You've ruined my career. My reputation. I just sat there and said, No, Hannah. You ruined it. I just stopped cleaning up your mess. The look she gave me, pure hate. And for the first time in 7 years, I didn't feel small under it. I felt free. The morning after her screaming fit, I called a lawyer. I walked into his office with a folder stuffed full of emails, DNA results, and screenshots. He didn't even look surprised, just nodded slowly and said, We've got everything we need. Filing for divorce felt like ripping off a bandage that had been festering for years. Hannah's reaction? Predictable. First came denial. You can't do this. We can fix it. Then came anger. You're pathetic. You're throwing away our family over a mistake I made years ago. And finally, her favorite weapon, guilt. What about Lily? Do you want to ruin her life just to punish me? That last part almost broke me. Because Lily was the only thing that mattered. She was innocent in all this. But the lawyer reassured me. You're her legal father. The courts won't take that away. If anything, your wife's deception strengthens your case. And he was right. When we went to court, Hannah's mask slipped fast. The judge looked over the evidence, listened to her rambling excuses, and finally said, Mrs. Miller, this is not a case of a simple mistake. This is years of deliberate deception. By the time it was over, I had full custody rights, the house, and most of the assets. Hannah walked away with nothing but her bitterness. Outside the courthouse, she spat at me. No one will ever want you. You're just damaged goods. I just smiled. Better damaged and free than whole and living in your cage. And as she stormed off, for the first time since my dad's funeral, I felt like I could breathe again. After the divorce, my biggest fear was Lily. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that her mom blew up the family without destroying her sense of safety? I sat her down one night, just the two of us on the couch. She had her favorite stuffed bunny tucked under her arm, looking at me with those big eyes. Sweetheart, I said, my voice shaking. There are things happening between Mommy and me. Grown-up things. But I need you to know something important. You're my daughter. Nothing will ever change that. She frowned. Even if you and Mommy don't live together? I pulled her into my arms. Even then. Especially then. I'm always your dad. I'll always be here for you. She nodded slowly, then whispered, Promise? I promise. That moment nearly broke me, because she had no idea how heavy those words were. But it also gave me strength. Because no matter what Hannah had done, she couldn't rewrite the bond Lily and I had built. I doubled down on being present. Soccer practices, school pickups, bedtime stories. Every time I looked at her, I reminded myself, I may not be her father by blood, but I damn sure am by choice. And strangely enough, that thought started to heal me. Because while Hannah lied, cheated, and mocked me, Lily never did. She was the only pure thing that came out of that marriage. And I wasn't going to let Hannah ruin that too. After the dust settled, I was left with a house that suddenly felt way too big and way too quiet on the nights Lily stayed with Hannah. At first, the silence was crushing. I'd pour a drink and sit in the dark, replaying every lie, every sneer, every time Hannah made me feel small. It was like she still haunted the walls. But then I remembered something my dad used to say. You fix what's broken, or you build something new. So I started with myself. Therapy was step 1. Sitting across from a stranger and admitting, my wife lied about our child's paternity for 7 years and my parents helped her hide it. Was brutal. But week by week, I stopped carrying all the blame. I learned how to separate her cruelty from my worth. Step 2, reconnecting with family. Jason dragged me fishing again. Kelly had me over for dinners, made sure I wasn't eating frozen pizza every night. Even Mom and I, we're not where we used to be, but we're talking again. Slowly. Step 3, hobbies. I dusted off Dad's old woodworking tools. Built a coffee table. Then a bookshelf. Then Lily asked for a dollhouse, and I poured everything I had into it, made it perfect. Watching her face light up when I showed her reminded me I wasn't broken. I was still capable of building something beautiful. And somewhere in all that, I started living again. Laughing again. Even feeling like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't just surviving, I was starting over. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I booked a plane ticket. No big plan, no itinerary. Just me, a backpack, and a flight to Colorado. Hannah used to sneer whenever I talked about travel. You wouldn't understand museums or history, she'd say. It's not really your thing. Turns out, she was dead wrong. I hiked trails that nearly broke my legs, stood at the edge of mountains that made me feel small in the best possible way, and for the first time in years, I breathed without feeling someone else's judgment pressing down on me. When I got back, I started making a list, not of what I'd lost, but of what I wanted. More trips. More woodworking. More nights laughing with my siblings over beer and bad fishing luck. More moments with Lily, teaching her how to ride her bike, building forts in the living room, being the kind of dad I wanted my own father to see me as. And slowly, something shifted inside me. I wasn't just Mark who got betrayed anymore. I was Mark who survived. Mark who rebuilt. The guy Hannah tried to break was gone. In his place was someone stronger, sharper, and free. It's been over a year since my dad's funeral, since my mom's confession, since Hannah's empire of lies collapsed. Do I still hurt? Yeah. Some nights I lie awake replaying it all, the emails, her sneer when she called me too trusting, The moment I realized even my father went to his grave keeping her secret. Those scars don't just fade. But here's what I've learned: her betrayal doesn't define me. For years, Hannah convinced me I was less than just a maintenance guy. Not smart enough. Not good enough. Truth is, I was more than enough. She was just too selfish and broken to see it. I got revenge, yeah? Exposing her, burning her image down in front of her colleagues and family. That was justice. But the real revenge? Living well without her. Rebuilding myself. Looking in the mirror and finally liking the man I see. And Lily? She's still my girl. DNA didn't change that. If anything, it made me fight harder to be the dad she deserves. Because fatherhood isn't about blood, it's about showing up every single day. So if anyone reading this is where I was, lost, humiliated, crushed by someone else's lies, here's my advice. 1. Get the truth. Even if it hurts. 2. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking their betrayal is your fault. 3. Take your time to grieve, but don't stay there. Rebuild. Live. Take up something new. 4. And most importantly, never let anyone convince you you're less than you are. Hannah tried to bury me in lies. But I dug myself out. And now, for the first time in years, I'm free. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.